All right, good day. Hope everybody out there is having a good one. This is your first time to the channel. What we do around here is we follow people's suggestions rather than algorithms. Let us find a whole lot of music that we never would have found any other way. And I always suggest taking a look around because I guarantee you're going to find some music that you never knew existed or you never knew you needed in your life. Because I know I have found a lot in a short amount of time, relatively. So yeah, there's a ton of music I never would have known about any other way, and it's really kind of changed my outlook on music in a lot of areas. And one person in particular that's really had an impact on my life in a lot of ways, whether it be musically, emotionally, and or otherwise, is this assassin-looking gentleman right here. Look at him. I don't know what you came for, but I know I want to kill you. No. Oh, he look at him though. He looks like he'd rather be somewhere else. But okay, here we go. This is Paco De Lucia with Ricardo Patino. Remember Patino? Now these are aguerias, which translates to joys, but they're um Algeria, Algeria's, what they are is kind of like how we've talked a lot about like Bulerias and stuff like that. They're different kind of flamenco that uses yet again another kind of rhythm structure, and it sticks within that. And this is one of the cool things that it's like it really makes a guitarist like, all right, here's your lines. You can do anything you want, but you got to stay within these lines. And it really shows some interesting stuff. Now, this is a rhythm that I think it consists of, if I got the right thing, it consists of 12, 12 beats, and it's beats emphasized. So it's like 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11. Are like the so, but just think it's within a 12 beats. It's not your regular 4/4 timing or anything that we're used to over here. And I say that a lot with like flamenco because I know sometimes I've got comments with people like that lost me, and it's like you're not supposed to try to be keeping time in some sort of way. Just let it fulfill you and watch what happens, the magic. So anyway, here is now that I've explained that in the most dumb way possible, just it's a kind of flamenco. We'll simplify it to that. And here is the master himself, Mr.
Il fait de la musique avec elle. Retournons avec lui, avec ce phénomène musical que les téléspectateurs nous ont demandé fréquemment de revoir. Paco de Lucia, le vamos a dejar en libertad total y elegir un toque de su selección y nada más.
It looks like he hates the guy or
Una
something.
versión, el arte flamenco a través de usted y su guitarra, ¿qué?
Voy a tocar un poquito por alegría.
A visitar la tierra de Caí y su tácida de plata.
I don't have a
Venga.
See what I mean? Like, you just drift. Let it take a hold of you. It's almost like it's telling you a story in a way. It's like, he's like stretching the whole octave out, like. Smoking. See that pinky control? I mean, it's jealous of it. Look at it. Might as well be another index finger. That was, look at Elvis pose when he's done with the guitar. Yeah. Totally unintentional. It's just awesome. You know, I'm going to say a few things here, and some maybe Paco fans might take this through. But, you know, this is where it's like knowing what I explained earlier. Once you hear that, doesn't really feel like that was all that important to know any of that, because it didn't change how you went on that musical journey. And I think, you know, there is when especially like in the States, or, you know, a lot of music in general, a lot of metal music, no matter where it comes from, you know, it can get predictable because it sticks to these conventional timings that we're all used to. And even when it goes outside of the conventional timing, say like Tool with the Fibonacci sequence and stuff like that, it's still, it is still hit in places you expect it to. And this does not. And it just flows. It's, there's, throw the metronome out the window. There's no need for all that now. With like what I was explaining before with like the Balerias and the Algerias or Algerias, okay, the Joys, yeah. The more you hear it, then you start to understand it, especially when you hear different artists do it. You start picking up. And I gotta say, like, it took me hearing a rhythm section of clappers clapping along with an artist for me to finally understand what the timing was all about. And that's, I mean, it really, it's like, now that I know that, it really doesn't, because it's a type of music where it's so easy to forget about timings and all that. Just go on the ride. Just sit back and let him tell you the story through these strings. And that's exactly what he does. Is he's like a storyteller, but instead of using his voice, he tells a story with guitar strings. And there are a few things that I think are tricks of the trade for some artists. I've heard of how some artists will take steel strings, put them on the top, and then the bottom ones will be nylon. Sharper sound, I could imagine, but they make nylon strings these days, and even then, and especially for where they were. I mean, this is the birthplace of the guitar, so especially the classic guitar as we know it, even today. So the varieties and ways that they did strings and got their sounds and everything, it's like there wasn't they're not depending on like pluck harmonics and doing all these fancy things. Like they're all that fanciness is in the digits, and without layering any trickery or stuff like that. And I'm not putting down like pluck harmonics or anything like that, especially when they're used right. Sometimes they can be used a little too much, but it really makes me think, like talked about like Randy Rhoads, and of course with the passing of Ozzy Osbourne, so comes up the passing of Randy Rhoads, which was a big part of starting Ozzy's career. Well, he wanted, his whole thing was being a classical guitarist. And if you spend any time listening to anything Randy Rhoads does, especially if you listen to D, you understand, whoa, this guy wasn't like a metal guitar. That was just what he was doing. He didn't, he was really a classical guitarist at heart. And, by trade, it was just, he was, really creating this new style of metal and stuff with Ozzy that paved the way for there's guitarists still today that are emulating Randy Rhoads. I mean, so it doesn't it's not that far of a stretch to think that he had a very keen awareness on Mr. Paco De Lucia here, and really took some notes, because now that I've heard more about like Randy Rhoads and heard more of like some outtake sessions and stuff like that, it's like some of the stuff I can't help but think it's like he got some of these ideas from watching some of these greats, I think. And and like, I could take I want to do that, but different. And that's the thing. And we don't, we still have, flamenco is still alive and well. And especially in, Spain and the Spanish culture, and everything. But, we don't really have, other than to say like finger style, we don't have like an equivalent to the layered amount of things that are within the flamenco genre or world. There is so much to talk about, and even as big of an icon, legendary icon as Paco de Lucia is, he's just one small part of a huge picture that's got a thick, rich history of a music that was born for reasons and has, it's just, yeah. There's a lot of history in Spain, and there's a lot that goes along with this music. And that's, I think, where so much of the storytelling, feeling, and the nuance and all the notes and every little thing that he does, it's like, like there's singers out there that would aspire to have that much heart and feeling in what they're doing. And it's just, he's still, the best, untouchable as far as I'm concerned. I mean, there are awesome guitarists that everywhere in their own right, and there are experts in their field at what they do, but they will all point to this man and tell you the best. So, yeah, and we can argue about that in the comments. I don't mind. You know, because there was many before him that he points to, you know. So he's, you know, we have giants standing on top of giants to bring this music through history and refine it and do these things with it that brought it in. You know, I think Paco is, you know, really kind of you know, a big part of bringing flamenco into the zeitgeist, and, you know, on a much larger scale, and it being received on a much larger scale. I mean, once you listen to Entre Dos Iguales, I mean, you're like, oh, okay, I get it. Like, whoa. And there's so much Spanish guitar type music that we hear in the States that we don't understand, like, what it's, you know, emulating, or what it's, you know, what kind of music it really is, you know. People will just, you know, dumb it down to, oh, that's Spanish music. It's like, no, there's several genres to talk about on top of other genres. And yeah, and then let's not, you know, don't even get me started on like the whole folk music area. I mean, people, if you knew what I knew about Spain, you'd have a totally different outlook on folk music. I'm just saying. No, really. I love music history. I love learning, you know, where things came from and what, you know, progressed one thing into another, because that's how we get new music, is everything is, you know, inspired from the last thing, and it goes on to do the next great thing. And that's why this auto-tune world that we're in, and, you know, them being more worried about an image than actual talent and skill, and that being few and far in between. Yeah. That's another video for another day. You could probably find it around. But yeah. This is a very special piece, and I think it really you know, it shows the storytelling capabilities that flamenco has. It's just, you after he's done it, feels like you just got told this, you know, amazing story. You still have that, like, that same feeling, and I don't know how else to explain it, but it's just magic, and it's the type of music that you can easily get lost in, and that's the magic right there. When music takes hold of you and makes you forget about all of your woes and all of your surroundings in general, that's the magic. That's what it's supposed to do. So yeah, master musician, master magician, just master all around. So yeah, please go check out more Paco De Lucia, and definitely get flamenco in your. If you're an aspiring guitarist, you need to know about this man. You need to know about all of his fellow comrades in the flamenco area, because they have a lot to show you, and a lot of different stuff. They all have their own kind of way of doing things that I think are very, you know, unique to them. And they all have their own special brand of Al Di Meola, John McLaughlin. The list goes on. Paco, you know, obviously Paco, Tomatito. We have lists of flamenco acts to that you could take a shorthand version and just go straight to them. But please follow the links and learn about this genre. Learn about some history, damn it, and some history that matters. And this is some stuff that I really think once you dig into, and especially if you're an aspiring musician, I think you'll really take away a lot from. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe to all the YouTube things. If you got a band or an artist or something that you'd like for us to check out, please do leave them in the comments, and we will get to them as soon as possible. We have a whole playlist of flamenco and a whole playlist of Paco, so I do take a wander around that if you'd like, and please go share and tell some people, especially some aspiring musicians, about this awesome music you just found via this dumbass. So yeah, all right. Everybody's having a great day out there. Hope it's going as good as it possibly can be. We got tons more news, reviews, reacts, all that good stuff. So yep, stay tuned. We'll see you in the next one. Have a great day out there, everybody.